Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 1 podcast. I'm your host, 30 Still Gaming, and joining me, co-hosting, is Wolverine. What's going on, brother?
Hey, just another day in paradise.
Didn't we just do this? Didn't we just do this yesterday? I feel like it's the same day.
It seems like it. It seems like we're just picking up right where we left off.
Yeah.
But now we're just on the other side of the coin, on the other side of the comic books spectrum.
Yeah, so on today's show, you know what? I don't even know if I have that spoiler. Do I still have that spoiler alert popping up? Let me see. No. Oh, let me see. There. Oh, I gotta fix it. It's different because of WandaVision. We moved it over here. There it is. It's a big giant spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. If you haven't watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 1, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? You shouldn't be here because we are going to go over stuff that basically, I mean, it's spoiling it. Don't watch if you haven't seen it. So we're going to go over the show, and then we're going to do call-ins and get your guys' thoughts and speculations and theories, what you guys thought about it overall and whatnot. So so going in, I didn't know what to expect. Wolverine was much more excited about this than I was. Face value, you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, not really. And then was it last week we talked about it as far as I was like, you know what? It looks like a Bourne Identity. It looks like like a James Bond flick and stuff like that. And the show starts off with Sam ironing his shirt, right? He's ironing his shirt, and we're seeing this moment of like superheroes iron clothes, right, type of thing, right? Like he's a superhero, but he's an everyday guy, and he's putting his suit on. He's getting ready for something. We don't know what. And you see the shield in the scene. He picks it up and he puts it inside that casing that old Cap gave him the day at the end of Endgame, right? So you see him looking at this shield. In this moment, when you first see it, what do you think's going through Sam's head, and where do you think he was going when he was getting ready?
I can definitely see that they were, from even the trailers, that they're setting some sort of tone that Sam doesn't feel he's ready or worthy enough to take on the shield and or moniker. And it's very prevalent from the first episode, and then going back again, you kind of see it in his mannerisms, and he's hesitant to give the shield because obviously he wants to continue the idea of a star-spangled hero,
right?
But at the same time, he knows and feels that no one ever can fulfill Steve's shoes. And that's probably going to be something that he learns to overcome through the show. How we see it pan out, that's yet to be seen, whether it's through him in a combination of Bucky. But you can see that he's worried to give it up, but he knows that he doesn't feel worthy enough to take it on himself. So he's torn between two really big problems.
Right there, and then I got the same feeling. I was like, where's he going with this? Like, what's he doing with it? Is he fighting with himself to be that moniker of Cap, right? Because those are big shoes to fill. You can't just step into Captain America's and feel like everyone's going to take you, love you as much as they loved Cap, right? From this scene, it jumps to this giant plane in the sky right after, and you see Sam in the Falcon outfit, and he's up there, and the colonel's like talking to him, saying they have this operation that they need to, and he has to do it, but discreet, right? Discreet. And he's like, got it, discreet. And he opens up the bay door and he jumps out. And I have to say, this whole scene, this whole action sequence, this was phenomenal. I'm not just talking about visual, like watching it as a fan. Like, I loved the footage that they did with the special effects mixed in with the drone work, mixed in with the actual practical stuff. Like, it was like seamless. You could almost, the way the camera was being used, like you would see like Falcon go off the side, like they were following Redbird, right? What's it called? I'm sorry, Redbird, right?
Red Wing. Right, Mike.
When they followed him and you would see him go off to the side, just the way it was shot, I was like, man, this looks real. This looks like they filmed it in the air. Like the special effects are getting so good for practicality, where it looks like he's actually jumping out of a plane compared to actual people jumping out of the plane. Because when they look at the squirrel suits, wingsuits later in the scene, I was just like, that's real. And then the drone work is real, and then the helicopter, and then mixed in with the special effects. This whole sequence was phenomenal. What'd you think about this? The setup.
I agree with your sentiment 100%. And like for a TV show, granted, I guess we could call it that, but a series to be a little bit more accurate. That it was amazing. Top notch movie quality stuff. One of these standalone Captain films. It was up to that standard. I was extremely kind of pulled in by the thought of exactly how much they were going to push the envelope the first episode,
right?
And I think a lot of people probably felt the same way that you and I are right now, probably because we just sat through all of WandaVision and we're exasperated, thirsty for action, and we're just like craving for it, foaming at the mouth. And then when we get at this first episode, we're like, oh my God, like look at it. And that expression, it wouldn't, I guess, be any different if we did get a bunch of action in WandaVision. So I think it goes hand in hand. But at the same time, I feel that we're so much more engorged with how much we got that first episode because of like what we were hoping for each and every week in WandaVision.
Right. So as he jumps out of this plane, he approaches this other plane that they have a hostage on. They have a captain. Now, when I was watching this the first time, I was like, wait a minute, what's the deal with this guy that they have hostage? Like, is he a big important person? It never really panned out. This is like the beekeeper in WandaVision. Like, you're like, who is this guy? But Falcon gets on the plane, he peeks in. You can see it's already taken over. Like, it was already hijacked. The bad guys were on there. And then we see the guy that we saw from Winter Soldier, right? We see, how do you pronounce it?
Batroc. Yeah.
He's like the head leader of this gang. And I was just like, go ahead.
I was gonna say his involvement has always kind of been curious, because he got hired to steal the Lemurian star,
right,
in Winter Soldier by Nick Fury, because Nick Fury was suspect of what exactly ended up being the truth, that there was some sort of Hydra incel going on within S.H.I.E.L.D. So I couldn't help myself but to ask the same thing about Batroc's appearance in this one. Is he working for himself? Is he working for someone else? Maybe like Zemo? Is he maybe even working for the same side again and put into a situation to see exactly what happens, just like in Winter Soldier? So I'm excited to see George St. Pierre back. I'm a big fan of him in the Octagon as well. So it's good that he's getting to reprise the role as a pretty decent Captain America villain.
Right. When I love when he breaks in, and the way that Sam just swoops in to the plane, it was just like, I was like, oh man, this is cool.
Yeah. He
comes in, uses his wings, uses the power of his jet to slam people in, uses the environment around him inside the thing. I thought it was nice close combat. Cool choreograph in the close combat.
It definitely shows that Sam has excelled in combat and being able to get into areas, and it's not just doing the same old, I guess, like bird routine that he's doing. Right. He's way more.
Oh, your dialogue. Hold on. Stop talking. I can't hear you. You went completely gone. Awesome. I'm gonna kick you out and then like disconnect and rejoin. Yeah, move out, get out of Discord and then come back in. How about now? Nope. Nothing. All right, unmute yourself in.
No, there was something wrong with
Okay.
Discord.
All right.
I just had an error on Discord. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a function with Discord that was going on.
So finish up the last thing you said there at the end.
I don't know the last thing you heard before it got cut off.
I don't know anymore. You were talking about the environment. I said the environment. You were talking about how he excelled.
It's nice to see that. It's nice to see that his combat has evolved through each film. He's has put himself into stickier situations, and he comes out of it almost unscathed every time.
Yeah. When they were also in the plane, I was like, okay, what is the object? What is Batroc trying to do with this guy? They're trying to get it, and now we get introduced to Torres. Now, I read the comics, surprisingly, before the show came out. I read the Falcon, Captain America Falcon, leading up, and Torres was actually in this comic, and he becomes Falcon, right? And I was like, wait a minute, is that? Now this is live, like me watching. I was like, I just read it like hours before, and I was like, wait a minute, is that Torres, the guy who just became Falcon?
They're definitely planting the seeds, just like they're doing with Ned in Spider-Man, but we'll see if he becomes Hobgoblin.
Well, this was nice for me because before, if I didn't read that comic, I wouldn't have picked up on that. I wouldn't have picked up on that on all, right? And so I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. We'll get to the scene a little bit later because now, and I understand where everyone was coming from the House of M when you guys read the comic and then you're looking at the show and then you're starting to think things, because now my brain's completely different thinking wise when I watched this first episode compared to if I didn't read those comics beforehand to have any of this knowledge in my head beforehand, right? So I was like, okay, what's happening here? Why do they need this sergeant or captain or guy, whoever's their hostage? They need to get him across the border. What is the premise of this? Like, what is the actual thing? And I don't know. I'm going to be jumping ahead here a little bit, but I feel like Sam is being set up to fail as the Falcon. And the only reason I say that is because now I saw Torres and I'm like, well, if he might take over Falcon. And quickly, when after the scene's completely, this whole series scene is done, and then Sam's fixing his gear, and Torres is taking video, and he's like, "Hey, do you mind?" Like it looked like he was trying to get like footage of the stuff. He's trying to get Sam on like social media or video, and I was like, this seems kind of sus, right? I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but the reason I'm jumping ahead is because I read the goddamn comic, and now I'm thinking, okay, so maybe Torres is now taking over Falcon's position, and then later in the episode, we find out later about Cap. What do you think about the remainder of the scene, this fight sequence that he's being chased by missiles, he's going through, he's being outsmarted, overwhelmed, I should say, not outsmarted. He's being overwhelmed with all these missiles coming at him, and Sam starts to really push what his skills are, right? Flying through the helicopters, blowing them up, trying to the remainder of the scene. What did you think of it overall, visually and story wise?
Visually, I thought it looked really cool. We pointed out earlier that it's amazing what they're capable of doing with just a 6-part series. Just to backtrack a little bit, what you're I think relating to the one scene where Torres seemed so interested in what was going on in Sam fixing Red Wing, and Sam made the comment that every time I give you guys this, he always comes back with all kinds of issues. I'm paraphrasing, of course,
but
it's
along the last 5 months,
along those lines, and insinuating that Sam is sharing the tech to at least have other people assist him, whether it's updating it, repairing it, what have you. I don't know necessarily if I feel Torres is a threat yet. I think Torres, in that one scene in particular, I think Torres is curious, and I think Sam is going through his own personal thing of whether it's to give someone else a moniker. He's dealing with Cap giving him a moniker. Now maybe it could be a personal thing with him and Torres becoming the Falcon. We know that Torres is familiar with Red Wing in just those few lines. So it'll be interesting to see their relationship build and whether or not we see Torres in a set of wings as well by the end of the series.
Right. Well, I still think Torres is just, he's young, right? And he's also in awestruck that he's working with one of the Avengers, right? Like he's working with him hand in hand to help him out in this particular mission. And it seems like that Torres has worked with him obviously in other missions in these last 5 months, right? So, I mean, that's what I got. He's like, the last 5 months, every time you guys work on this, basically, there's always something wrong with him, right? He's got these bugs or whatever, right? And I feel like, I don't know, I just felt like something was off there. That's basically it, right? So I like this whole scenario, this whole sequence of Batroc jumping from one helicopter to the next, to the next helicopter. I was like, damn, this action scene is fantastic. This is like top-notch movie thriller. This is something I wish I saw on the big screen, right? This moment of this whole front scenario scene. After this, he is in the city. He is working on the actual Red Wing when he got damaged because he got shot in the back, basically, and he's fixing it up. So he does see that he talks different languages, right? So we know that Sam does talk different languages as well, right? And even Torres even says it. He's like, oh, you know, he's like surprised that he speaks a different language, which I was like, is he taking notes? Like this, I'm telling you, I'm all like, Wanda, like you said yesterday, Wanda ruined me.
I'm chilling. I'm not doing it. Like
Wanda
I'm picking
me?
up, like, yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it in terms of like trying to figure out if Mephisto's in this episode. I'm not doing it this season. I'm going to sit there and calmly enjoy each and every episode, break down parts that we're talking about, Batroc, and then things that are hyper focused, kind of like when we refer to the list that Bucky is checking off.
Right. I just don't understand why Torres was filming. Like he's in the army. He knows that they're on an opt mission or whatever, and yet he's trying to get him into the shot and stuff. I don't know. It just seemed a little weird. Yeah, obviously he did use the social media as far as it was like an AR on the phone. Like when he held it up, he was looking around and then found one of those handprints for the what are they called? Flag smashers? The flag smashers. Yeah. So he's telling Sam about it. You know, it's this new group, flag smashers. He's like, yeah, just keep me posted on what's going on or whatever, and we'll find out more about that later on. But this scene just back and forth between them, I see what you're saying, right? Just as a face value, if I didn't read that comic, I would just think that this guy, I still think that something would be weird about him. But now that I know of a name of the guy, and then that he becomes...
Do you think he's up to something nefarious?
I do. I believe that I think that he's up to something based on from the government.
Because he takes
from
on the moniker, I don't think he, like, that's just like, it's not even in my purview, I guess. That's just probably why it hasn't slipped by me.
The way that I'm thinking of is that he's trying to look at what the tech is because, and again, I'm speculating big time here.
Sure.
I feel that he's trying to look at the tech because they're trying to push Sam out, and he's the guy that's going to take the place of him. So he wants to know how the tech runs and works, because he even says something about the thousands of IP addresses and stuff from the Tony Stark. Like there's just something about it that just seems a little bit off. It's very minute. It's very. Do
you think you feel that way is because of how Sam reacts to it?
Yeah, he feels a little bit like.
And I think it has to do with the trust that Sam is. Sam hasn't worked with someone since Cap, and I think he's starting to realize that he needs to start working with people. And I think we're going to see it in the episodes to come when he goes to the therapy with Bucky, and he has to learn that he has to trust someone else.
Right.
I think that's another element too, that he's going to have to trust Torres as well.
Well, going along that, if he does end up trusting someone, and then Torres does kind of screw him over, right? In the end, by taking his position, that would hurt even more, right? Because then he let his guard down to bring in somebody, and then something happens. Well, Going to the next scene, he shows up at this conference where he's making an announcement. Now, the way it was shot was he was ironing his shirt, he's putting the thing on. That mission that he went on was a flashback, basically, of a mission he went on before he did this conference, right? Because he was getting ready, then it was that mission, and then it cuts back to him going to the actual conference of him telling, I'm giving the shield up, right? Like I'm and if you look, I have it posted right now. I'm gonna back up a little bit here. I'm gonna show this footage of this guy's smirk when Sam says something. He talks about Captain America, right? And everyone chuckles and stuff. But the guy standing next to War Machine, Rhodes.
Don Cheadle.
Yeah, Don Cheadle. Let me see, where the hell is this thing? One division screen. Yeah. So this guy standing right next to him. This is the guy at the end of the episode, obviously, that when he says that we have a new Captain America, right? And that our country needs he says to Sam, you made the right decision, right? Turning it into the museum, right? Like giving it to us and putting it in here, which is just double crossed him, basically, right? We don't know the story of how he talked Sam to making this decision, right? But we do know that he talked to him at some point to give the shield up, to bring it here, and then at the end of the episode we find that it's the same shield. It's the shield that he gave up to put in the museum. That's the shield they gave the new Captain America, right? So that's a deep cut into it, and I feel like this guy right here has something to do with my theory of them trying to push him out.
I think they found a way to reproduce the super soldier serum to the whole bigger extent. They gave it to this guy, and this is the tone that they're setting. They're setting a new world order in terms of dealing with Captain America and how the last 10 years went down. And I think we're going to find out that Don Cheadle is on board, and then realize, I don't think I can be on board with something like that. I think he's going to sway differently than the gentleman next to him. I don't think we're in another Hydra thing. I certainly hope not, because again, that would just seem like we're just repeating ourselves. At that same time, I think the John Walker, he will find some way to lash out in between the two, in between him and Sam will say, like, you're not worthy of that, yada yada yada, and there's going to be a fight between those two. I think it's going to be building up to that.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see War Machine in this series? I mean, obviously we saw
suited up.
Do you think he'll show up in this?
We know he's confirmed for Armor Wars. I don't know. I was just surprised to even see him. I was very surprised to see him. So I don't know. I guess I couldn't put in past any other more surprises, whether we get another suited up Avenger, whether it's him or someone else. It would be cool. Again, we see people from the grander scale picture. It puts a smile on our face because you're like, oh, like look at all the other dots they're connecting.
Right. Yeah. This whole scene with him talking to everyone about the shield and how he hands it over. They put it in the box. Like this seems like a very simple scene, but Sam is like struggling, right? He's struggling. He thinks he's doing the right thing because he doesn't think he could fulfill the shoes. But at the same time, I almost look at it as again, I'm not a vet, but I know a lot of vets. I have cousins and family members that have all been, like, he literally was part of this battle, this war, right? He got blipped and then came back, and he didn't have time to process, just like Wanda didn't have time to process. He just came back into the world. Things were happening. And now he's trying to, pick up the pieces from where he was before. 5 years moved on without him, right? He even says, like, my nephews grew up, and now they're much older. He's dealing with, like, this problem of, like, he wants to be part of this Avengers group, but he doesn't feel like he can do it alone, right? So I feel like that's the main reason he's like, I just want to live a normal life, but at the same time, he's missing the action of what he did for the last couple years with the Avengers group, and now Tony's gone and Cap is gone, and lots of things have changed, including his personal life and also his work life. And I feel like him giving up that shield is like him saying like, yeah, it's not going to be the same, and I can't fill those shoes. So he gives it up, thinking it's the right thing to do. But at the same time, he's struggling with himself, going, you know what, I am the right guy for this job, but he's just afraid to do it by himself, right? I don't know.
No doubt. Without no, I agree. I think there's some sort of PTSD going on with him and Bucky. Clearly, Bucky has.
He definitely has problems.
Decades, half a century worth of PTSD. But in the same way, they're going to ultimately be each other's Zen. Their yin to their yang, and it's the name of the show, Falcon and Winter Soldier. They're going to come together and help each other in some sort of void that they're filling. Steve was the void missing from both of them. Clearly, what Bucky's void was going back to the 40s, but then all the missions and all the years that Sam spent helping Steve find Bucky, then pursue everything that was going on up to Infinity War. A number of years went by that he spent helping and working with Steve and trusting Steve and realizing Hydra, and then doesn't know who to trust, and realize that the only person he can trust are these people that are close to him. And now like 2/3 of them are gone. I think there's some sort of healing that has to come across to both Bucky and Sam, and they're gonna find solace within each other.
You mentioned Hydra earlier. I don't necessarily think it's Hydra, because it would be like, oh, here we go again, Hydra. You know what I mean? I think it might be some other organization or some other person, maybe not part of an organization that's trying to do something.
I just can't see the sleeper cell thing within another positive organization like we saw in Winter Soldier.
Right, but
finding out that everything, all the way to the top was Hydra related. I just don't. I think we can push away from that narrative.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it is Hydra like that. I think it might be a narrative, sort of like Haywood in WandaVision, right? Like, he works for the good guys.
Bad actors.
Yeah,
sure, just bad actors.
He works for Sword, right? There could be someone in a good company just trying to have thinking they're doing the right thing, but meanwhile they're really just becoming the asshole of the group. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And the dynamic between Sam and what you were just talking about, between Sam and Winter Soldier, if you ever had a friend like this, where like you hung out with all your friends and the connection point was the person in the middle, where like, for instance, like if you hung out with this person, you would hang out, but you wouldn't hang out with. So he would hang out with Cap, but he wouldn't hang out with Bucky by himself, right? And Bucky wouldn't hang out with Sam, but he would hang out with Sam and Cap, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, Cap was that pinnacle point of, if Cap was there, everyone was get along and have a good time. But then when Cap was gone, it was kind of like this awkward moment between them. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel like is that gap between them. Like this alpha, all right, and these guys are betas, basically, right? They don't get along with each other without that main linchpin, you know what I mean, which is Cap. So I feel like that's a struggle between them as well, which obviously we didn't see at all in this first episode. But I love the scene that they're going through as they go through, and Don Cheadle and him are talking, and it's basically there's full of monks of huge Easter eggs throughout this whole thing. It's a museum of Captain America as they go through the history of it, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, Krebsy, that's just like how Zemo was taking care of loose ends and threads. Like, there's just people that have blended into society, and I think that's okay. I think that incorporation of Hydra is totally fine. What I'm suggesting, what I necessarily don't want to see personally as a preference again, is how we saw that sleeper simulant inside of shield that was concocted by Zola, where he put his brain and consciousness into a machine, and it expanded all the way to Robert Redford's character, all the way at the top. I don't want to see that again, because then it would just seem kind of silly. Damn, that happened to Samuel L. Jackson twice, Nick Fury twice, like within
Right.
a decade, and then he was supposed to change all of it. Now he's the head of Sword, and now there's that kind of behavior still going on. I don't know. It would just seem disconnecting to me personally.
Yeah, we already were introduced with the Hydra inside the show, with Bucky outed the person that he hired or promoted within. But I think that is something just to toss in front of you, Cruzy, that says, "Oh, there's Hydra. Hydra's evolved." I think that's just a false narrative, I guess you can say, right? They're teasing something and they make you think that's where it's going, but I don't really think it's Hydra. I think there's something else out there, but we'll see. I love the way the show's going. Yeah, this whole scenario or sequence it's literally going through the history of everything that from the last couple movies, as they walk around, as they have this, like, really good conversation. There's a lot of bits and pieces that you can pull out of there. That's really great. Sam, you can see Sam is just struggling to adapting back to normal life, basically, right? Because you see him after he gives up the shield. We do find out that goes back to Louisiana, and which is different than the comics, because he's not from Louisiana in the comics, but they changed it to Louisiana. That's where his sister is, and that's where they end up, going, where he's trying to become like a fisherman. Basically, he wants to become. But the next scene after that, we get to see the scene in a hotel. And then all of a sudden, you don't know who this kid is that's walking around. It cuts to, you see a shadow go up above, and then all of a sudden you see these like mobster members or these Secret Service agents, whatever you want to call it. Someone important is there walking around the hotel, and then all of a sudden we're introduced to the Winter Soldier, but Winter Soldier from the past, not present. Right? This is a flashback again. So they've done it with Sam, right? And they've done it with him. Now, does this take place after the blip, or does this take place before the blip? I think it takes place after the blip.
His flashback?
Yes, this long hair, because he didn't have short hair. He still had the long hair.
No, that was when he was still under the guise of the actual Winter Soldier. That was something.
So how many years?
This was before that when him killing the young student. That took place well before the events of Civil War.
So that's before Civil War, then.
Well before the events of Civil War, because that whole scene that he has with the father is to show you a representation and a callback to the line in Civil War when Tony says, "Do you even remember them?" And he says, "I remember all of them." He remembers every single one of these victims, and he has two different lists. Right. He's got a list of the problems that he has to correct, whether it's people that he killed and the loved ones of those people that have been affected by it. And then he's got the shit list that he's got to cross off, and he's got to either kill or out or whatever within those parameters he has to stick to.
I just feel, though, that I guess because Avengers, Endgame, he still had long hair. So technically it's like at least 5 years ago. Right. So you're saying it's way before Civil War? Or do you think it's closer?
Yeah, that's well before Steve found him. That is well before Steve found him. I'd say that it's even before Winter Soldier. Okay. Yes, no doubt about it.
Okay. So he wakes up from the nightmare. He does take out that kid, and we find out later, which was a good scene. I really liked it. I wasn't thinking anything of it as far as him taking out that guy, but it was well done storytelling. He cuts to him being in the psychiatrist's office, and this whole scene was beautifully shot because it was up close and personal, like tight shots on both the doctor and himself. You see him, even that picture behind him is like this forest behind him that was like he's like lost in the woods, basically. Visualizing that, right? But he's by himself. He's in the woods. I love the dialogue between him and the doctor, where he doesn't want to talk, and and then she grabs a notepad. And he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, he's like, oh, great, the notepad. You're doing the notepad thing, and he's like, you're a terrible doctor. Like, he's berating her, but she's just like, I'm tired of your shit. I've been dealing this with months now. I just like this whole back and forth between these, between Bucky and her. What did you think of this, the way it was shot, and what do you think of just this whole scenario of Bucky? I mean, I like these dialogue scenes. I like dialogue in movies. I like dialogue.
I've said it before. Winter Soldier is probably arguably my favorite standalone MCU film, and that was because of the dynamic of Bucky. I like that fallen star type character where they have to redeem themselves, and he holds so much angst on him from what he does, and it's weird. I kind of relate to that sort of mentality. I'm really hard on myself for a lot of mistakes I make, and I guess I can relate to resenting and having to live with mistakes that you make as well. So I don't know. I feel so so relative to Bucky, and then so somber by him, and just everything that he's gone through, and he had to. At first, he was somewhat jealous of Steve, because here was Steve scrawny, and then he's basically turned into this super soldier, and he lives to fight with him, and lives to deal with his role now as that sidekick type character. And then he ends up having that power and that strength of Steve, but ends up becoming a monster in the process. Obviously, to
Right.
not his own decision, but you see like how much regret and resent he has to deal with on an everyday thing. And I hope he's able to grow out of it. You saw a little bit like he was starting to heal after Wakanda. And getting called back and seeing Steve and fighting with Steve, like there was a confidence about him, and then it feels like it's all gone now.
Right.
It's like right after
Relapse.
Steve died,
It's like a relapse.
100% relapse. And I think a lot of that has to do with either people still feeling a type of way about him, and or he's got no one positive to confide with him and still keep making sure that he's on a path to non exclusion.
Yeah, I like this scene where he's talking about, hey Doc, he's like, get off me. I did the thing today. I made amends today. I did the 3 rules. I didn't hurt anybody. And she's like, oh yeah, what you do? He's like, oh, it's I took this person. I got her high up in the ranks of Hydra. He plants this thing on the car and he controls it, wedges in between 2 bars, whatever. Goes up to her, says, "Hey, I'm Bucky. I'm making amends. Yeah, I'm making amends as she's doing like dirty work right in the car and in the thing. So I thought it was funny. He's like, I didn't take any lives. He takes the guy's guns and basically punches him in the face, basically with his mega arm, takes him out. I like this scenario. Look, I've always asked for this. I said, I hope they have backstory for these characters, right? Because yes, the Winter Soldier was great, and that there was backstory for the Winter Soldier, but not really backstory for Bucky, like what he has to deal with, and same with Sam, right? They just kind of like threw him at you and said, here you go. These are characters that are Avengers now, and you're like, okay, great. So as he goes through this, the psychiatrist, what does she say to him? Does she curse at him? She says, I was the biggest crock full of shit, or crock of something. I forget. She says that he's like, I didn't have a nightmare and whatnot. And she's like, oh, I know everything about you. I was a soldier. I've seen things. And she relates to him, right? Because she's trying to open up to get him to open up to feel like, look, this is a safe spot. This is not something that you need to hide. You need to talk about these feelings and what's happening to you, because you have to get over it. And there's so much that's deep down inside of him. Like he says, he's crossing off the names off his list. From this scene, he like leaves this scene after he's been, not berated by the psychiatrist, but he's just like, you know what, give me a break. He's like, let me I'm trying here. The only place I had for one moment was Wakanda, and I was peace, and then I was thrown right back in, right? And just like you just said, like it's like a relapse. Like he didn't have that moment of it was Wakanda, it was a blip, he's back, and now and then all of a sudden now he's this, right? The next scene you see him meet up with an old guy fighting in the alleyway with a guy putting his trash in his trash can, and Bucky walks up to him and he's like, oh, what's happening here? He's like, maybe you should be nice to people or whatever. And he's like, yeah. He's like, oh, let's go to lunch. He's like, yeah, I'm buying. He's like, okay, great. He's like, well, let's go. I was like, who is this old guy? Right? I didn't know anything about this guy. Right? And I was like, all right, this is pretty cool. He's taking in. He's having a conversation. He understands. He knows how to speak. The same language as him. And for some reason, when I didn't expect this, and I usually pick up on stuff all like this all the time, but when he's having this conversation with him and he tries to set him up on a date with the bartender or the girl that works at the restaurant, who I absolutely love, by the way. I don't know what it is about her. She's very I was attracted to her right away. I was like, oh, she's cool. I like this. I hope Bucky and her like continue on with this. And I think she's actually in all 6 episodes. So this could mean that this is like a love interest of his or something to break the mold of him, where he feels like he's alone and maybe he opens up to her a little bit more throughout the series. I don't know, but we'll see. The old guy, Mr. Naka's, what's his name? I forget his name. It starts with an N, but he looks at these rolls of maki on the is that how you pronounce it? Maki, I think it's called mochi.
It's ice cream.
Yeah. And he all of a sudden has this memory of his son, and he starts opening up to his son, and then all of a sudden I was just like, oh no. I was like, that's the guy he just killed in the hallway at the hotel. I was like, oh my God. And I felt really bad for him. I was like, what's he doing here? Right? I know he's making amends, but did he find out? Like, did he know ahead of time up to this point?
Yeah,
he did.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think he has tabs on everybody, and you can see that a relationship was had already been developed between these two prior to them meeting at a trash can. He just didn't know what. And clearly the mochi, and then we see him later return to to go to his apartment, and we see the mural that he has for his son, that it all just confirms it. He knew exactly who he was. He knew what he did to him, and he's trying to find some way to find forgiveness and make amends.
It almost feels it's hurtful, because I feel like this old man has brought Bucky in as almost like a replacement. It seems like they've known each other for a while, right? Like they've had lunch a lot. They hang out a bit, and I feel like he's not the replacement of his son, but he's found someone that he used to have this
healing from him.
Yes, right.
And I think that's going to be a big running trend of the show, is that there's going to be people finding healing and or solace from each other, whether it's Bucky and Sam and Torres, Bucky and this guy. Like, I think there's going to be more developments like that. We still haven't seen Sharon Carter. Like, how did she deal with Cap dying?
Right.
What was her disconnect and finding out her separation from the FBI and everything that occurred after that. So I think there's some sort of healing process there. People trying to find their way now that the basically the hero, the shining star Cap, is no longer with anybody.
I feel like this when this guy finds out, he's going to be just devastated that Bucky's the one that, and obviously he's not going to want to talk to Bucky because he finds out that he killed his son. But I think he'll also make, like, he'll get over it and kind of know that he was. But I can't wait for this to explode, like, to find out what's going to happen with this moment. But
I hope there's more people that he has to interact with like this.
Right. Well, there's a whole list on that right side of the page, right?
Yeah. There's so many more, and it was nice. It was really cool to see Zemo's name written on the left side of the page of the people he's got to take care of, because he knows what Zemo did and everything that he basically put him through within Civil War. But yeah, I would like to see more of that healing journey of him. Kind of, it's almost like a homage to the process that he had to reconcile with Tony Stark, and I like that
Oh, right.
whole idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he had to basically still deal with Tony and fight side by side with him, and after the fact, he killed his own parents, and that whole forgiveness part, and a lot of it's kind of emotion shattering. It's going to make you feel a type of way when you found out, just like you said, he's looking at the mochi, and you connect the dots, and like, damn, that's the son. That takes you right back to the scene where he's choking out Stark's mom. It's just like, damn, like that was a loved one.
Right. And Legend, what you say in chat, yeah, I think he is afraid that it's going to happen exactly like Tony, where he's just going to go, he doesn't want that moment where he knows he did bad, but he wasn't doing it, right? But he knows subconsciously, he remembers every single person that he did it to, and he's trying to be a better person about it. But obviously the people are going to hate him for it and be angry towards him. I do like the playfulness of the guy setting him up on a date, and she's like, yeah, I'm cool, I'm down with it. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, oh, this is cool. And that's what I meant by, like, it seems like they've been hanging out a while. You know what I mean? So they're buds. And but it's sad when one of them knows that why he's there, and the other one thinks he's a true friend. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So then the next scene after this, we see Sam driving into Louisiana, and he pulls up to the dock where his sister has the boat. And I don't know about this whole scenario of him struggling, right? And I all of them struggling. I understand emotionally struggling, but financially struggling is where I lose the ball here with the Avengers. I understand that Tony Stark is gone, and they're not getting like severance packages or whatever from their government. But come on, they just saved the goddamn world, right? And these guys are like celebrities, right? You would think something of some sort of way of they would get money. Even Pepper Potts would give him money. You know what I mean? Somebody that has money that knows that these, like, them going to get a loan and stuff like that. I was just like, I don't like this scene at all. The emotion of him meeting his family and stuff, and then selling his dad's boat, and his parents trying to give his legacy, because I understand they're trying to get him back down to earth. Like, he doesn't want to be a superhero anymore. He's trying to be, get back to normal life. But it's not normal as far as, like, he wouldn't need to get a loan. He wouldn't need to. Why would you go to a bank and stuff and not that whole scene and this whole thing? I was just like, yeah, they could have just got rid of this completely, and I would have been fine with it. Like, I like the connection of him and his sister talking about selling the boat or building the boat or making the boat, but he could literally just call up somebody and be like, hey, with the struggles, I'm trying to get my boat fixed. You think I could give me a couple bucks? You know what I mean? I don't know. I didn't think it was needed. What did you think of this this whole?
It was definitely a left turn. The scenes in Louisiana. At the same time, it's really nice and actually great to see Sam's nephews, his sister, his whole other life.
I like that.
I'm like that they're expanding that, and I hope they do more with more of the characters in this series that are main. But I agree with you. It would seem kind of how an Avenger wouldn't be able to have someone assist them. Maybe it could be, and this is where I was kind of refuting myself. Okay, it could be a pride thing that he has. He doesn't want to ask anybody. It's not like people are keeping tabs on his finances. And then that was staying within the confines of reasoning within the MCU. Maybe it's just a pride thing. And then I started thinking about direction of the vision of either the episode or the series, and or how real life problems are catching up to Sam faster than he thought they would when he didn't want to be a hero anymore.
Right.
And those types of real life problems, they do happen. People, not getting able to get a loan for whatever reason, whether it's your finances, whether it's your creed, whether it's your skin color. Like, there's all kinds of problems that I think that they try to put together within that scene. And I don't want to say it necessarily didn't hit. I don't know. I think considering what we just went through all the way up to that, like, from the beginning opening shot where he's punching people, going through helicopters, blowing crap up, and then the healing process of Bucky, the emotional stress that he's going through, the healing that he has to do of taking care of the problems, and then the pain he has to deal with of reconcile all the hate. And then we go over here and we're trying to like put 2020 problems on a 2025 world that's supernatural, that got half of life extinguished by a deviant with a glove and 6 stones. It's hard to find that balance. And I'm trying my best to use movie magic in those moments to be like, damn, he's just realizing struggles are parallel, whether you're a hero or a civilian.
Right. No, and Gritter, you're absolutely right. I have no problem with the connection of meeting his family and then them talking about their family business and stuff like that, right? But what I have a problem is with the scene. It's later in the show, but I want to go back to the Bucky one after this. Up to this point, I like the fact that they introduced the family and the real struggles. Right, it makes you connect with. Hey, after 5 years, absolutely, and I'm okay with that. It's the scene at the bank when they ask for a loan, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we'll go. I'll go bank to bank in town, and I'll ask people and stuff." Like, come on. Like Tony Stark was taking care of him, and I'm pretty sure if he called up, since they literally just saved the world, right? They literally just saved the world. I'm pretty sure, he could start a Twitch channel, all right, or a YouTube channel, and fundraise some money to get his boat off the ground. I don't know. I just feel like it was out of place for what it was, and I understand they're trying to show the struggles of real people with the humanity, but at the same time, it doesn't. To me, it didn't fit. It didn't feel natural, like Ryan Butler just said. Right? It doesn't feel natural. It just feels like they wedged it in there because they had to wedge it in there, type of thing. So the next scene, we see Bucky. Now he has no family. He has nobody, right? So he's going on this date with the waitress. I think her name is Lei, I think it is, Leah. And he has this conversation with her, and she seems pretty cool. Like I said, like she seems like this very easy person to talk to. It seems like he can open up. He jokes, how old are you? And he's like 106, and he's like, yeah, like she doesn't believe him. She's like, yeah. Oh, he's got a sense of humor. Basically, is what she took from that. And I like this. They play Battleship. Which I thought was funny because the box says Electric Battleship, and I could tell you 100% that's not Electric Battleship. I'm just saying, I saw that. I was like, that's not Electric Battleship. That's regular Battleship. That's not Electric Battleship. But I like the banter back and forth. Again, I love just this simple dialogue that gives you so much more bits and pieces of the character of what he is. He's trying, right? The scene shows that he's trying. One, he showed up to the date, right? He's trying to become normal. He's trying to settle back in. What he should have done is try to fix Sam's boat and ask for a loan. That would have got him back to reality real fast. But instead he went on a date. And you can see the struggle. Like, he doesn't want the damn cat's hand to move. He's trying to settle things around him. I don't know. I thought the scene with him and the waitress or bartender was pretty good. What did you think of the scene with Bucky and his date?
It's making him feel comfortable. It's getting him to not feel like he always has to look over his shoulder or feel that he's not wanted in a place or have to think about his past. That's the biggest thing, that he's not dwelling on things. And then right when the waitress begins to talk about the pain that the man goes through because of the loss of the son, I think that is when it truly hits Bucky, that he says, I can't hide this to him anymore. Right. I'm sitting here becoming his friend, building a relationship, and I'm lying to him the entire time. And that's like, I was just like, man, that's like a really big feels moment, because here he is. He's really trying his hardest to make amends unknowingly how to do it correctly, and it took this waitress on a date that he set up for her to say how much pain he's in on a daily basis, and he can't just sit there and pretend to go along in the date knowing that types of things.
Right. She says it and it triggers something in him. He's like, I'm gone. Right. He walks out the door, shows up to the gentleman's house, and he's like, what are you doing? Oh, he's like, oh yeah, I'm paying you for dinner. Right. He was gonna say it, but then he backed down. Right. He saw the picture of his son in the background. He sees that it's still hurting the man because he's got the smoke going in the background. Like he just interrupted him praying basically to his to his son. Right. So he sees him take a glance over at it, and he knows there's something there. Right. You know that he knows now that the old man knows something's up. Right. Because the way Bucky looked in, and then he looked and was like, why is he looking at that? He kind of maybe made a connection, maybe not. He was just maybe kind of weird, but Bucky's like, nah, I can't do it. I thought I could do it, and he walked away basically. And they open up he opens up his book and stares at it for a bit, and is like, yeah, nah, I can't do this. But he circles it, right? He circles it, knowing that I have to get this done, otherwise I can't move on with my my healing process, right? So big thing. Then they cut back to this whole scene that I think they could have just gotten rid of, because his sister doesn't. She just wants to sell the boat. Right. And this is another thing, right? The sister just wants to sell the boat. He doesn't want to. He's like, half of it's mine, half of it's yours, right? Half the house, half of the boat's mine. And she just wants to move on with her life because she was alive during the blip and he wasn't. Right. So she felt the pain. She even says, look, I was gone. I took care of everything while you were gone. Even when you were here, I took care of everything because you were abroad and did whatever else. Right. So she doesn't need the loan. And yet he's forcing her to, let's go do the loan. Let's go do the thing. And I don't know. I just felt like it was a little forced to make Sam more relatable to us normies, in the world. Be like, oh, I can relate. I can't get a loan, or you know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like that was a missed opportunity that they did, or they could have went with the story some other direction.
How I viewed him fighting for the family business and something that was sacred to him and his sister and his family is almost at the same time contradictory, and something that he's going to learn about the Shield while fighting for his family and things like that, and how important they are, right, to not just him but to the overall thought that these are the important things, and those important things you have to fight for them. And I think he's going to learn that lesson while doing that for himself, and then realizing I should have been doing this with everything all along.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't think the loan officer would have made an exception for him. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, he's like, nah, I can't. I can't do it. He's like, you have no history. He's like, yeah, well, I was gone for 5 years. And then even the sister brings it up. How are you supposed to get credit if you were dead for the last 5 years? You know what I mean? Like, how are you supposed to get stuff if you haven't been here? Well, the next scene is in Sweden, right? The bank. All the people are outside. Torres is out there. He's looking to get in on the spy game. Basically, he's going undercover, trying to find out what the Flag Smashers are hanging out, and if the Flag Smashers are using apps to get flash mobs involved. So all of a sudden a whistle comes. They have a duffel bag. They start handing out the masks, and I was like, oh, are all these people bad? And then I was like, oh, I see what they're doing, right? So hands out the masks. All of a sudden the guy breaks out the window, falls 2 stories, 3 stories, and lands. And I'm like, mutant, superhuman. What do we got here? Definitely someone with super strength and super abilities. Now, doesn't mean he's a mutant. Could have some super serum soldier, serum in him.
I'm not using the mutant word in the series. I'm not. But yeah, to the second thing you said, I think there's some sort of black market dealing to the super soldier serum. I think whatever was given to John Walker by either the other powers that be, or even that other individual that was standing next to Don Cheadle, I think that they could be dealing under the table. Maybe they have been bribed to a higher position within that world where the Flag Smashers don't have borders on things. There could be some sort of bribery going on in that aspect. But yes, just as you said, there's something strong about these certain individuals among the Flag Smashers. By the way, it was nice to see that they are a collective group, especially after pointing out the character playing Carl Montague's character as a single Flag Smasher in the comic book.
Right.
I kind of figured they were going to do that, especially when you see her putting on the mask and all that.
Yeah. Just random thing came in my head as I thought about the scene. Do we think later in the episode, since we're talking about the loan that he got, do we think Falcon comes across this money after they find these guys and takes a little bit of the money to front his business with his sister to fix the boat?
I mean, I don't know. I think he's probably going to just do the right thing, and then it's just going to work itself out. Like, I bought the bank, kind of like Justice League type thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought about it. I was like, it's a Swiss bank, so it's dirty money. Like, these Flag Smashers are probably taking this money to fund their own organization to do what they're doing.
This revolution, and I'm trying to figure out if it's another proprietary person trying to dictate it, or if it's Zemo having his hand in it as the sole leader, or working with someone else.
Yeah, what's interesting is the two people that grab the bags. I don't think there's a normal people. I think there's the people that are pretty strong, because those bags, if they're full with money, those are hundreds of pounds of to lift them up. So we do have super strength. He kicks that one guy that's being attacked by the police officer, and he kicks him, and he flies. That dude's got some broken ribs and concussion going on there with the way he got kicked. So we do know they have super strength. And even Torres, when he gets stomped on, he gets curb stomped basically with this guy.
His broken orbital bone.
Oh yeah,
so that stomp came with some force.
Yeah. So I don't know what to make of these guys yet. Again, I don't know much about the Flag Smashers yet, and what I've read in the comics. We'll see what happens.
Just don't like law. They don't live their
right,
idea.
No borders, basically. Yeah.
Their idea of law and order is kaput in our ideas and how we see it. So they're down to bring it back, and in this narrative, just as Torres says, they're trying to go back to what it was pre snap, basically, as the 5 years that was going on with half of existence just faded away.
Right. Then it comes to the scene that I hate in this episode. The bank guy sees him. He's like, "Oh, aren't you?" He's like, "Oh yeah, you are." And even that makes me kind of upset, because he knows who he is. He's a big fan of his, but then he's like, "Yeah, just can't help you. Can't give you a loan. Can't do anything. You don't have anything. That can help the bank, right? Even hell, if I was the bank guy, I would have been like, "Hey, maybe we can cut a deal. Maybe you could do sponsorships for the bank." Right, and then we can work something out, something along the lines of something. But no, they just toss it away, and that's basically it for that scene. The sister said it all the best. She's like, we don't need to go there. I don't want to get rejected again, and so on. He's like, no, my credit's good, and apparently it wasn't. So move on. He gets kind of upset. They walk across the street. She says that whole thing where I survived without you. I survived the blip. I didn't need you. I was by myself. I survived by myself with 2 kids. And he's like, yeah, I'll go to every single bank. I'll go to every single thing. We'll get it. We'll do the thing. Basically, if it was a normal person, he wasn't an Avenger. It's like, I'll work 2 jobs. I'll work 3 jobs. I'll do whatever I have to do to make the money to get this done. But obviously, I don't think this is going to pan out, even in the end, because even if he goes back to be Captain America, where's he getting the money, right? His government, I guess the government money. He's not going to have time to run the fisherman boat. You know what I mean? So I feel like this whole story to ground him is kind of wedged in there to the overall picture of what's going to be.
Agreed, and a human type person just said it in the chat. The scenes of Falcon's personal life really hurt the episode. I agree, and then I disagree to it. I think they needed to start doing this with Sam in terms of building something outside of what's going on as just Falcon. So yes, it was odd, and like I said, they kind of made a left turn when they went to the bank and they did all that. I'm hoping it's just setting the stage and planting the seed that he's not only going to be a bigger part of his family's life, but it's a grander scale way of looking at how he should treat everything in his life, and the importance of keeping those valuable things close to you. I really do think exactly how I said earlier, how he's going to treat this family business is how he's going to reflect and say, I should have treated this about the Shield the entire time.
Right, because even at the end of the episode, his sister comes in and says, "Turn on the television," right? As he does that, they're announcing. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. He talks to Torres. Torres tells him about the black flag and what they were. He says something. He's like, "Do you think?" And then he's like, cuts him off. He cuts him off and says, I forget the exact words he says. He's like, "Do you think it is?" And he's like, yeah, I'll circle back around to you, right? He cuts him off. What do you think he was going to say? What do you think Torres was going to say to Sam when he was telling, like, do you think they are part of, do you think he was going to say Hydra? Do you think he was going to say some sort of...
This is where people are like kind of reminiscing to the scene where Agatha was telling Herm about in front of Vision, don't say it, like, don't tell them. Like, that's where people are like, oh my god, are we having that kind of moment, or were you like, what did they say, or what did he mean? I honestly, I don't know. I think they have an agenda. The Flag Smashers is pretty much clear what it is: bring anarchy, upset some sort of established order, quoting the Joker here. But who's in charge of that has yet to take shape. More likely than not, I'm assuming it's Zemo. But I think Zemo, after doing what he did in Civil War, I think there's something more personal for him going on rather than him just making a group called the Flag Smashers. I think he's going to be working with them, but I think there's a bigger narrative going on.
So the actual line is that what he says, so we know, he says, anything else happening? He says, no, my face has the dirt before I knew what was happening. And then he says, why? What are you thinking? And then Sam says, nothing. And then Torres says, you don't think he could be a... And then that's the word you don't want to use, right? Do you think he could be a mutant? Do you think he could be, something? There's something there that they don't say. He cuts him off, and then we don't know. And then his sister comes into the room and he says, "Sam, you have to look at this." And then all of a sudden, turns on the television and they see the announcement of the new Captain America. Which I have to say, I'm not a violent person, but when I saw that dude's face as Captain America, I just want to punch him in the face, right? Like, I don't know what it is about Kurt Russell's son's face, but like, it's just
yeah, why Russell?
It's not. I just wanted to be violent with him for a second.
Yeah, you're feeling your stepbrothers and Ron Riggle looking at Will Ferrell. Something about your face. Yeah, is there something I could do?
Yeah,
yeah. I think I don't know. I think he looked like a U.S. agent for sure, and I liked the costume. I liked stuck with the red stripes and how it just angled down. It was stellar. I don't know. I may sound like I'm nitpicking, but I felt that little weird moment when I was looking at him, but it was probably because his ear was like flapped over in the helmet. I'm just like, okay, so like, is it too big for him? It's like a little kid's Halloween mask. But I don't know. I'm trying to think like where this guy is going to fall along the spectrum. Are they just going to just fall along the bad sense, like he's going to be completely not anti-Captain America, not worthy for the Shield, got it, because he's agenda driven and this is a more calculated version of what Hydra was. Like I'm still like feeling it out. Going on what you said about mutants, and this is, and I'm going to be surprised no matter where it fills in. But if it came in this show after not getting it in the last show,
right?
I mean, man, anybody could come out here and speculate at that point, because who the hell knows what they're going to come up with. But I definitely do think that these individuals are enhanced, but I think they're enhanced in the same means like the super soldier. We know Ross has had it on ice. The original serum, they've been trying to find a way to formulate it in the same way that the Doctor did in the first Avenger. So I think they found some way to finally perfect it, and they gave it to this dude. And I think they're also either dealing under the table to the flag smashers that have it, and or they're stealing it, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, see this dude's face right here, man. You just want to punch him in the face. Look at him. What a punchable face. Right? The bad guys are going to be fantastic because they'll be like, I want to punch you in the face. When he sees the shield, Sam is just freaking out. He's just like, God damn it. Right?
What did I do?
Yeah, he's like, what? Yeah, exactly. I gave up the one thing that Cap gave to me, and now they're using it for this guy that he wants to punch in the face. Okay, here's the thing. I think in the comics that I've read, it's a big red versus blue. It's about race wars and stuff like that, and I think they're gonna kind of implement that a little bit here. I think, and what I was saying earlier in the show, I don't think that gentleman in the very beginning that I pointed at, I don't think wanted a black Captain America. I'm going to come out and say it, right? I'm going to come out and say it. I don't think he wanted a black Captain America. I don't think he represented what they wanted Captain America to be, right? And they made Sam, I think that mission that he went on, okay, I think they tried to kill him. I think they tried to kill Falcon right then and there to make it look like an accident, because it was a under the cover agent mission. There's no reason that guy had to get across the border. Like, what was he for? Like, what were they using him for? Why do they have to get that agent over there? It just seems something. It seems something is up with this whole scenario here, and I think Sam sees it right then and there. As he sees that shield, that's the shield. It's not a new shield. That's the shield that he gave them, and they took it out of the casing and gave it to this guy. Yeah. And I just feel there's something more behind the whole thing.
Sure. Here's my thing. That would be really, if that's the case, I'm not even going to say you're wrong, but if that is the case, that would, that line from Dodgeball, bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. Yeah. Like that's exactly how I would feel in this instance. Clearly they're teetering what you're saying, and I think it was very prevalent in the bank scene and the loan officer and dealing with all that. I think that kind of gave smoke signals of that sort of imagery that you're kind of referring to. But where I feel that idea of a black Captain America coming in the credits, there was actually an actor who was supposedly supposed to represent the true black Captain America, Isaiah Bradley. So a lot of people have kind of put that together.
I didn't pick that up. I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, that's people broke down the credits. That's where a lot of the actual WandaVision breakdown stuff that we were doing all last season. They were doing it within the end credit scenes of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and you could see that there was a bunch of different things, but a face shot.
Let me see if I can.
It's a face shot of him. And people are trying to connect that. Okay, all right. So maybe there could be the resurgence of the first black Captain America in Isaiah Bradley. So I don't know. They could touch on that type of. They could touch on that stuff, and it would just be weird if that guy comes out and says, because we can't have a black Captain America. I'd be like, whoa.
Well, I don't think they'll say that exact term, right?
Sure.
But
sure.
They'll
insinuated that
Yes.
would be a lot.
Yeah. I think they'll insinuate it in some way, shape, or form. I'm trying to see what part of the credits here. You say it's a face underneath. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that's the way. And again, it's not any kind of
No, not taking it that way. I don't think you should.
I'm not saying that to be. Oh, I think is this it? This has got to be what you're talking about right here. Is that the face right there?
It's gonna take me a second.
It says subject, and it has a number. I don't know what number that is, and it's got his face underneath. Is that what they're breaking down right there?
As soon as it comes up on YouTube, I'll be able to confirm it. But that's basically what people.
I think your Discord is using a different microphone. It might be using the camera mic all of a sudden. I don't know what's happening. Like your audio got really echoey. I can hear you. It's just it sounds like it's not coming from the microphone anymore. Yeah. So again, I'm not saying to be racist and bring up anything like that. I do believe that that's what it is. Like I don't know. There's something. It's working now. It just seems like there's something up with the way the opening sequence is, how they were trying to get a guy over. There was no.
Yes, and by the way, that is the shot.
That's the shot
I was referring. That is the shot that people have put together as that could be him.
That went over my head. I had no idea. I was like, oh, cool. It's just some credits or whatever.
there was a bunch of nice Easter eggs in those end credits for both Cap, Bucky, and Sam.
Recess. I'm still hurt that Cap didn't give it to Bucky. I haven't watched. Well, you got to stick to your morals, man. Like if you're upset about it, I think I thought the first episode was very good. I did. Yeah. I thought the very first episode was very good. Let's get some people that want to talk about this inside. If you guys come in, join the live stream audio. I don't know if you guys can. Anyone join the live stream audio? I think you can. And then I can unmute you in the channel here in a Discord on
if they're part of SNTR and Repeat Theater, they're able to get in there.
All right. Oh, they have to be a member to get into that.
Yes. Of either or though. Yeah. Okay. There's a combined subscription.
I might have to move us to the podcast in the future because we opened it up to everybody that wanted to.
Well, if they join on LFG, you'll be able to drag them in.
Okay. Where's the LFG stuff? Is that down below?
Yeah, it's at the end. That's the free free way of joining the Discord.
I don't think Bucky would have accepted it. Yeah, you know what? I don't think he would have either. Just because Bucky has so many internal issues with himself that he knows what his best friend stood for, and he knows that he's nowhere near that comparison of what he wants to be. Don't get me wrong. He definitely wants to be where Cap was. He wanted to be that guy, but he's not, and that's what hurts. I think Bucky the most, that he got taken by Hydra and turned into this killing machine, and his best friend was, who was a scrawny little dork when they were in the service together, became like this almighty powerful person. You know what I mean? So.
I think the biggest thing that Sam is going to have to overcome in this show is to not be afraid of what Cap gave him. I think he's so afraid to fail as the Captain America, as that shield, as being a representation of it, that he wants to give it up. And I think he's going to learn with what he did by giving the shield, giving them the outlet to basically give it to someone else. He's going to go, God, my fears and my worries to do such a terrible job as Captain America or the bearer of this shield. Look what my fears got me.
Yeah, Gritter, I'm going to move you up. It's going to take me a second because I can't. Hold on. Collapse this. Yeah, I got to collapse some things before I can get to get you up there, because I can't scroll up for some reason. So give me a second to get you there, buddy. Come on. Oh, this sucks. I can't scroll up. Is there a way to move? Let's see.
Gritter should be able to join live stream.
It's all right. I think I can
Gritter,
do
you
it.
should be able to join. He should be able to join here. You just be able to just unmute him in the same ways that Collins were. Gritter, just join live stream audio. You'll be good. You'll be muted. You shouldn't have to pull him. He should be, if he's part of the network. He's a member.
All right, I can get him up. I get you up there? Nope. I can't get him up there. Yeah, he should be able to join. There you go. And I'll just unmute you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. And
okay,
there you go.
Yeah, all he had to do is join. That's all.
Okay, so that's the one. Yeah. Hey everyone, good to be here. Gritter here. You know, I had to get my call in before the end of tonight, man. But yeah. So I like the show. I really do like it. It's a nice change of pace from WandaVision.
Oh, completely different.
And, yeah, definitely. And I'm really intrigued by the Flag Smashers. I didn't really know that was her name. I just called them the Mass Vigilantes. For some reason, even though the female villain, I have no idea what her name is, but she seems like she's the freckled face villain with the mask,
the red hair, the redhead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Her name's Carly. She's supposed to represent the Carl who plays the Flag Smasher, but he's a soul character. The Flag Smashers are now a group, but she apparently is supposed to be one of the main antagonists of them.
Is she his daughter? Is that what she's supposed to be?
Huh?
Is she his daughter, like the original Flag Smasher's daughter?
Oh, I don't know if she's supposed to be the daughter. I think they just turned Carl Montague into Carly Montague.
I got you.
Okay, because she seems like, even though I know she's a villain and she has to be stopped, this is maybe that angle where there's some kind of sympathetic angle to her. She's wrong, kind of like with Thanos. He's wrong, even though we know his methods are wrong. Even though it's like everything's too overpopulated. It's like, yeah, but you're a crazy person. But So I think it's going to be something. I don't think she's going to be charismatic as him, but I don't think she's going to be a cookie cutter villain. I think there's going to be some nuance to her villainy. But it looks like she's going to be really strong because. From that scene in the trailer when Bucky, Sam teases Bucky about you got your butt whooped by a girl.
Yeah, on the truck scene. Yeah, when he's hanging from the truck.
Yeah. So, but with her and then Zemo, so I'm like, is she following Zemo? Is Zemo going to learn about them? And say, hey, let me see if I can make them my puppets, or if they're totally separate from Zemo. And then you have Zemo on his own who comes into the fray with Carly and her group. And then you have the fake Captain America or faux Captain America. That'll be some good storytelling. And then you got to throw in Agent Carter.
Yeah, there's just like as you said, there could be potential for 3 different avenues of conflict. Whether it's Zemo doing his own thing, the Flag Smashers doing their another, and then the issue with the current Captain U.S. Agent.
Now, I did want to give some comments about the bank scene. I did feel like I wasn't expecting Marvel to go there. It's something that, it's definitely a real thing. People getting denied loans. But for Marvel to go there, Kevin Feige to go there, I have to imagine there has to be some kind of lessons, some kind of parallels between Flag Smashers. I think Flag Smasher may represent people from the Snap that are having difficult times, but she's going about doing things one way. Sam could easily do the same thing, but he's going to go about it the right way. I'm hoping that's one of the parallels they do with that. There has to be something more than just, he's a black man who can't get a loan.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Especially because he is an Avenger. I mean, even people that would be that way would find some kind of value in Sam being there because the only color they're going to think about is green. Especially for a bank. But, aside from that, I do feel like there's going to be, and not just with the bank, I think it's with his sister. His sister's like, she's grounded, like his family. It's like, you're a big shot, but you're still, my big brother, little brother. I don't know who's older or younger. And I know because I have a sister that gets, we're both grown adults, but man, she'll, when we get together, man, she'll she'll try to not bring me down a bad way, but
Right.
it's that brother, that sibling, right? You know, that
Yep,
sibling
the
thing.
rivalry.
So,
Yep.
yeah. So that down to earthness, that gets on my nerves sometimes. But anyway,
Well, Gritter, what are your do you have any expectations for the show? Do you have predictions, thoughts for the next episode?
oh yeah, I can definitely throw some out there. I definitely think
Kurt's like, hold on a second, let me get my list. Let me get my list.
I don't even have a list. It's like this. Like sometimes you can watch a show, and just because, I mean, even though I don't, this is not gonna be like Ryan Johnson level of exerting what's it, expectations or going, changing expectations. But I do think it's not gonna be cookie cutter on how they solve things. But I do think, of course, we're going to get Bucky finally telling his old friend, who, by the way, you have to admit, that guy he's hanging out with is actually probably good for him to hang out with, because that's probably one of the few people in the world that's close to Bucky's age.
Yeah, he's probably about 20 years younger than him. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, Bucky's gonna have to resolve that. The guy's gonna get mad at him now. We'll be shocked if he stays mad at him, and Bucky, that's something Bucky just has to live with, but Bucky has to feel like, but at least I did the right thing. That would be kind of a bold decision for Marvel to not have that Disney kind of payoff where, they hate you at first, but they turned around in the end, kind of like in a Disney, cartoon movie. They may go for more realistic tone, because they are killing people in this, I think, aren't they? I think I remember them saying in the beginning of the episode, they're killing people, which I have no qualms with a superhero show doing that, but that's kind of bold for Disney. So some other predictions, I do think if Carly is not working with Zemo, I do think Zemo being Zemo, even though she could probably, her and her group could probably destroy him, they're going to end up rallying to his cause, or they're going to end up working for him if they're not already working for him. I do think that, and then one of the last predictions I thought, I do think there is, I don't know if the guy who's the fake Captain America you would think they would give him something. You just can't put any average Joe in that role.
He's stronger than Cap. He's stronger than Cap. If they're going anything close to what it is in the comics, yeah, he's physically stronger than Captain America.
He's got to be, because he's going to take a lot of punches to the face, so he's got to be stronger.
Yeah, but that's all I got, aside from Pepper's going to show up and buy the bank like Bruce Wayne. How did you get the loan?
That's so funny.
Bought the bank.
Right? Yeah. Like why couldn't someone else just come in that aspect for sure? I don't know. I'm kind of don't have many expectations as to a big character reveal, either character crossover. I do think though that this news about Black Widow being pushed to the date that it's being pushed could possibly have somewhat of a relation to maybe some sort of plot twist tying into this series. I've felt that they're both within the realm of reason of what's going on, and within each show, spies, people going against each other, betraying that Jason Bourne type movie line. So I think maybe something like Taskmaster showing up could very well be in the cards.
I think as far as this first episode needs to be the only episode where it's super slow. There's only 5 episodes left. There's only 5 episodes left. They need to start putting the pedal to the metal here to try to figure out, because Zemo needs to be introduced. We need to find out what the Flag Smashers are. Are they working with Zemo? I personally don't think they're working with him. I think that and this is me, I don't know anything about this organization, right? I think they're doing their own thing, but they cross paths with Zemo, and then he kind of brings him under them to get him to do something, right? Like, but remember, Zemo doesn't like superhumans, or he doesn't like anybody like the Avengers, right? So he doesn't want anyone except normal people on the planet. So
Barrier, I think it's probably safe to say that there are humans that are giving off the enhanced feature just from what happened in the bank scene. Mike just referring to someone getting kicked and getting pushed into a wall, the orbital bone getting broken by just a simple stomp. I think these individuals are definitely a lot stronger than the average person. And yes, based on the comic continuity, U.S. Agent is much stronger. He got the enhanced version of the Super Soldier Serum. They basically they finally figured it out, and then they gave it to him. So that leads me to believe that U.S. Agent has the powers or the enhancement, the serum as well, just based on there's a bunch of thugs on the street just yeeting people into buildings and into walls and concaving cement with that. So unless we see something otherwise, which more than likely it could very well happen that we get the rug pulled under us, like in many other Marvel movies and or shows like we did in WandaVision. But I think that they perfected the serum, they gave it to him, and there's some sort of double dealing going on, that there's a few flag smashers that are, benefiting from it.
Do you think at that point when we see him, do you think he already has the serum in him, or do you think they give him the serum after?
Oh, he already has it. Yeah. I'm just guessing. I'm guessing if he came out in full garb and just ready to go, the specimen 1 is ready. Like, let's put him out there.
Okay, so think about the trailer. Then Sam is throwing that shield around at almost looks like it's Hawkeye's ranch or someone's home, and then he's throwing the shield around on what looks like an abandoned warehouse. He
could be very well in Louisiana,
Yeah, he got that shield back. Do you think he has what it takes to take it back from someone that's stronger than Captain America? That would be a good. But I don't know. That's kind of.
That's a great point, because we do see them both practicing it with it at some point. How maybe just as you said, maybe we find out that they go completely opposite of what we think is going to happen in the comics, that they think they gave U.S. Agent this full-fledged super soldier serum, and then he just gets punched in the gut and just loses all the wind, and they take the shield from him. That honestly, it could happen too. But how they obtain the shield back is going to be a big question.
Yes, it is. That's something I'm looking for. I hope we get that in the next episode, because like you said, we only have 5 more. I mean...
Krebsy, I'm going to bring you in right now. So get your mic ready.
Hey, Krebs.
Hold on 1 second. And there you go, sir. What's going on, Krebsy?
How's everyone else?
You're really low right now. Let me see if I can raise you up. Go ahead, say something.
How's everyone?
All right, that's better.
Much better. Yeah.
Doing good.
Okay, so I think that Agent Smith is not going to be as strong as he is in the comics, because he's going to be the like a puppet to Ross.
Okay.
And the secret serum is going to be like not pure, and that Agent Smith is either going to get captured or die or something, and then Ross is going to use it on himself and then become the Red Hulk.
Okay.
Oh,
So you think Ross is in this inside the Winter Soldier as well?
Oh, I think Ross.
Sorry, Falcon and Winter Soldier. You think Ross is going to be in this?
I don't think Zemo is going to be the main bad. I think the Red Hulk's going to be the main bad.
Wow, that would be
really?
Wow, he's going Magneto and Mephisto right now on us right now.
Oh, it's going to get worse.
I do think Ross is going to show his face. The last time we saw anything in relation to the serum in a contemporary value was within the Hulk continuity, and obviously that's still considered part of the MCU. So yeah, I definitely think that Ross could show up. But here's my one question to that thought, Krebs. Were they given that lousy version of the serum? Because clearly the Flag Smashers, or at least a few of them, they got something. They got some juice in them. I doubt it's just any steroids they're injecting. They got something special. Does that mean that there's some sort of double dealing, whether it's from Ross or some other entity?
think that Ross might be working with Zemo. Ross doesn't want superheroes to go unchecked. Zemo would put superheroes in check, and Zemo is going off the books with Ross to create like another Winter Soldier. And I think that
my enemy of my enemy type thing for Ross.
yes.
Okay.
Wow.
See, I don't know about that because Zemo doesn't want anyone to have powers, right? So why would he help somebody get powers?
True. He basically wanted to shut down and not replicate. He put a head in all those other
right?
Winter Soldiers. So yeah, that I mean,
And
very much so.
and what would
But he could have a whole different philosophy based on what transpired after Civil War and not being able to take his own life and the different sense of values he had while sitting in that chair in Germany, basically in that jail. I'm ready for him. I'm ready to hear from him. I'm ready to hear what are his convictions now. We knew his families were his convictions before, and that he was just ready to off himself after the three of them were going to tear each other apart. So what are his new convictions?
Well, there's a bunch of things we don't know, right? Did Zemo get snapped? Did Ross get snapped? Did they just come back? Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that we don't know about with these other characters.
We know that Ross didn't get snapped because he was in Endgame.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. He was at the end of the Endgame, right? So he didn't get snapped, but we don't know about Zemo.
I'm assuming he didn't either. I'm going to assume that Zemo didn't get snapped either.
Okay, so then if we go with Ross, he was Secretary of State last time he was in front of us, correct? So did he become someone higher in the chain? Could he become president?
I mean, I feel like if he was president, we would have probably heard about that by now. But he very well could have moved his way up or found a different reason to be in charge of something else. I'm still thinking about that Red Hulk idea, because I definitely think that the Thunderbolts could very well come sometime soon.
I hear what you're saying. What I'm just trying to debunk or poke holes in here a little bit, right, for a conversation purpose of because I don't know, there could be the Zemo thing. I want to say I shoot it down just because teaming up with Ross because of what Zemo stands for. Right, I don't see him teaming up with him. Like he's got his own agenda, or he wants something. And what could Ross have on him? You know, like he's got nothing left to lose, type of thing. You know what I mean? So I don't know about that. I'll go with you as far as Ross, but as far as Zemo teaming up with Ross, I'm a little skeptic of that.
Wouldn't it be cool if the person from the bank winds up being like one of Bucky's nephews, and he like the super soldier serum works with him?
Wait, say that again. You're talking about the bank, like the loan officer,
Smasher dude.
Oh, the Flag Smasher. I got you. Okay, go ahead. Say it again.
The Flag Smasher dude is one of Bucky's nephews, so if he has like the genes for the super soldier serum to work,
okay,
so he will wind up fighting him and find out that he's his nephew.
Interesting.
They did bring up his sister in this episode, didn't they? He said he had a sister.
I don't know why they would do that unless just to like give him backstory. I think that's important.
Interesting. I missed that. I and now that you brought it up, it possibility that could be interesting.
I wonder if he's seen his sister, if his sister's seen him since he woke up, because that would be an awkward thing to see him looking so young, and I'm sure she's elderly by now.
Bubba, I can see that maybe something what you're talking about there, right? I think if it happens, Ross and Zemo team up will be at the end of the credits, meaning something has to happen in this series to make Zemo go, you know what? My friend of my friend is my enemy type of thing. Like, and I can see that happening, but as just showing up and being like, I'm teaming up with this dude, like it just seems off to me. But hell, if it happens, it happens. I just don't see that lining up right when we see him.
I do think for some reason, Old Man Cap is going to show up before the series ends. Because
Wow.
didn't someone question or ask whatever happened to him? We think he's just theories about he's here, he's there. Did he really die? Didn't someone have a conversation about that in this episode?
Well, we actually asked. Well, Torres asked
Okay.
about it. Torres says
Yeah,
we're
he's
kind of
up on the moon. Yeah, he's on the
running
moon.
gag, and he goes, "Yeah, he's up on the moon," and then he goes, "Where are you going? Moon stuff."
Yeah.
It's just, that could happen, Gritter. I think it would be really cool to see Chris Evans, even if he is old, return his Cap in some sort of way, whether it's just kind of. And here's how I can see it happening. When Cap returned and saw Peggy before she died, when in Winter Soldier, and he kind of has to realize something about his present by speaking to his past, that could very well be the same thing that Sam goes through in terms of seeking some sort of reassurance and or solace from Steve as to why Steve chose to give him the shield in the first place.
Yeah. Also, on a side note, I've always, ever since they showed that he actually did go back with Peggy at the very end of Endgame, I thought back to, was it Winter Soldier, when he went to see her alive for the last time, and she seemed like she had Alzheimer's, but she was saying things to him that made it look like, is it just my imagination where she's saying things to Steve that made it seem like she knew him for longer than what he thought she should? Like, the stuff she was saying to him, it seemed like maybe she was having Alzheimer's, but maybe she was remembering the past he hadn't done yet.
I mean, we've definitely speculated about crazier things that could definitely something they could come back to. But yeah, I think that was just a kind of a PTSD Alzheimer's situation where he made a promise and then she's really old and then she realized like he's finally here and look how long it's been. She says it as she's crying. It's been so long.
Oh,
like
okay.
It's kind of, I think that was kind of her, waking up to the fact that this is really him. He hasn't really changed, and look at all has transpired. That conversation between those two was actually, it was really heartfelt, that moment. But it would really be cool again to see whether maybe even have Bucky have a conversation with old Cap this time around. That would be really cool.
Yeah,
I kind of think they have to have him come in. I don't know if he'll be there in person, obviously, but if it's some sort of like phone call, like some sort of message, because they do say that they didn't say he died. Right?
That's true.
They said he vanished, right? The people talked to him like he just disappeared. It even says it in the when Rhodes and him are walking through the thing on one of the boards, it just says that he vanished, right? So they never said that Cap died. So it'd be interesting. So they left it open. It'd be interesting to see what happens if he is. I mean, Sam knows if he's alive, right? I mean, So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. Again, they have to. This next episode has to start off like real fast, like sort of like what this episode did, like action pack in the front.
Envelope. Yeah, every episode has to push the envelope. Has to give us action. It has to give us context. It has to give us narrative. We can't. I don't want to be guessing every episode. Like I enjoyed the thrill that was WandaVision. I did, and I'm not knocking it, but I don't want to spend every episode wondering if Magneto's showing up.
Well, that's the thing though. With what Cribsy brought up with like Ross and stuff. Like I feel like if this was a CW show, this would be like 3 seasons deep before that happened. You know what I mean? Like this is 6 episodes, so it's like how much stuff can you cram into 6 episodes? And again, based off what we did in WandaVision, there was a lot happening in episode 9, and they didn't suffice with a lot of it, right? They just kind of all fell off the wayside. So they got to be careful what they can introduce without having a payoff at the end of it.
I would be truly surprised if we got a Red Hulk, but at the same time, I would not be surprised if we did see Thunderbolt Ross, just because of all that has come across, the super soldier serum, how involved in it he was, how involved the character in it is within the Hulk narrative, within his own narrative. To not hear him not even at least mentioned about it, I'd be like, well, okay, well then they kind of are just drifting away from that thought process. Whether we get a full-on Red Hulk like Krebs wants,
Right.
or predicted, dude, like that'd be nuts if we got a Red Hulk just like all in our face and everything. But yeah, I think considering if we are teetering on that line of bringing to the surface the super soldier serum, having him part of that conversation would seem appropriate.
Yeah. And again, I think this is a series that could have a season 2. Do you know what I mean? Like like Wanda couldn't because of just the what it was. This could be season 2, season 3 down the line, and flush out the characters' backstories, and it could be that what you're talking about now could happen in a later season. So, what did you guys think overall, Gritter? What did you think of the show first episode?
I thought it was really good with character development. Like you gentlemen, we need to at least have Bucky and Sam reunite in the second episode. Don't make it switch to episode 3 before they reunite at least. But I like this episode a lot. I think it did subvert my expectations better than Ryan Johnson did with The Last Jedi. It really did. Because I was not expecting it to be so character building and still being good, and they still had good action in there. But it was like I was expecting Sam and Bucky to at least meet. I was not expecting to even get the hey, here's your new Captain America this soon. I mean, I always wondered who that was in a costume during the looks like the halftime show and the commercials. But yeah, so I thought this was really good, and I am intrigued by the villains, and we haven't even seen Zemo yet.
Yeah. Krebs, what about you?
Yeah.
I liked the episode. I just hope that it was just foundation building and that in the next couple episodes we really start to take off. But I have a lot more rabbit hole theories.
Let me ask you, Krebs, have you read anything in the leak realm? Has anything come out recently?
I haven't read anything.
Nothing. But have you heard of anything coming out? I'm curious.
I haven't looked into anything.
Nah, I know. I'm sure when it does reach the surface, I'll probably smell it like blood in the water too.
This show, that's the one thing about it. So this show may not be the show for that. Like WandaVision with the show, may not be the show for that. Yeah.
But I do think we're due for a surprise in all these shows. I think we're going to get some sort of moment like how we had, even though it was a boner move. We will have
literally a boner.
Hopefully not the same way where we're thinking crazy thoughts and then it end up being nothing. Hopefully we're not in that aspect, but I want that jaw-dropping moment. I do. I think those are awesome.
See, Star Wars has a Luke Skywalker moment. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has a Ralph Boner moment.
That's right. It has a Ralph Boner moment. That's right.
The next boner.
My thoughts and my predictions more so for the next episode. I think the next episode will get the reunification of Bucky and Falcon. Maybe we'll get the therapist scene possibly. And I think we'll get a Zemo introduction next week too.
Oh, see, I'm going to go one up on you. I think we're going to this next episode is a pinnacle episode. There's only 5 episodes left, right? Episode 2 has to come out swinging. So we're getting the reunite between Bucky and Sam, right? We're going to get Sharon at the very end of the episode, right? She's going to be introduced at the very end. We're going to get Zemo during this episode as well, find out the backstory of what his sort of like what they did with Sam and Bucky this episode, they're going to do with Zemo, and they're going to do with the Flag Smashers. They're going to round them out a little bit more so we know what the hell's going on there. We're going to see Zemo. We're going to see a little bit of a backstory with him. We're going to see the combination of Sam and Bucky, and at the very end, Sharon steps in, and then that fills in everything, right? That's basically everybody that you want to see, and then you have 4 episodes of just boom, 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 boom of all development over the next 4 episodes.
So I like that. So this next episode will end with a face I do want to see, as opposed to this episode give me a face I was like, who's that?
Right. That's
I like
my
that.
that's my speculation. That's my speculation.
I like
I just feel because
Okay.
there's not many episodes to do. I mean, again, they can't take what they did with Wanda and waste like
Yeah.
3 episodes of that.
And I don't even think your idea is reaching. I think yours is probably right on par with what they kind of have to. fall in
Well,
line
that's what I'm
with.
saying. Like production wise, I'm saying that's what they have
For
to
sure.
do. Yeah.
They still got to introduce the Carly chick. She's got to have her line. She's got to figure out what exactly she's doing. We got to figure out if Zemo's working alone or if he's working in congruence with these people. There's things that they have to hit the throttle about, because just like you said, we got 5 lengthy episodes, but 5 episodes.
So you definitely think Emily Van Camp could show up and at least by the end of this next episode?
Oh, I think 30 hit it right on the head. I think they're probably
Okay.
going to bring her in because she's going to be an integral part to how they got to figure stuff out. Like what has she been up to? Clearly, she's kicking ass in a few of these trailers. So
Yeah.
she's on a mission of her own. And what thread did she pull on? Because we know how interested her lineage, her great aunt were infatuated with Cap. You know, why it wouldn't seem out of the box that she's pulling on a thread in relation to super soldier serum.
Right. And I think Sam and them just kind of stumble in on the same time as them with the Flag Smasher and whatnot, and they cross paths, and then boom, they all work together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I go full blown crazy town for a second.
Sure, go ahead. Why not?
Go ahead.
Okay, so here we go. So we know that we're gonna go to Wolverine's. Yeah, Madripoor. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm gonna talk about.
Yeah.
Okay. So what if Bucky winds up being a mutant and becomes Wolverine? But
Oh, man,
we
No.
get Hugh Jackman to hand off the moniker to him as Old Logan, and it would give Bucky his arm back.
Okay. I'll feed into this.
Hold on.
a little bit.
Before you feed into this, I have a question. Did Bucky become Wolverine in the comics?
No.
Okay. I just want to. All right, go ahead.
But I'm going to feed into this narrative. I'm going to feed into this mutant idea and this mutant hope and this mutant expectation that we've kind of built ourselves on.
Sebastian
If
Stan
they-
is a new Wolverine. You heard it here first.
No, if they go, when they go to Madripoor, if they were going to do something, I think in the same way that remember when in Ant-Man, Michael Pena's character referenced Spider-Man. He kind of talked about Spider-Man without calling him Spider-Man. I think something like that could happen where they describe a particular mutant, maybe Wolverine, maybe someone else prominent, and then that's when we're like, what? Like that could be the connector. Maybe not calling them mutants, maybe not referencing someone by name, but describing certain traits that a mutant would have. That's me feeding into this Madripoor mutant connection.
Here's what I think. I think Madripoor is the Peter Evans of this series. Okay.
Ooh.
I think this is the tease
In terms of mutant connection.
Boner City.
It's exactly right, Ritter. It's Boner City, right? You're looking at that city and you're like, mutants galore,
get
baby.
fired, bro.
Right?
You get fired, bro.
That is a mutant city. Mutants are in the show, and that is, you saw Peter Evans, you saw Quicksilver, you're like, this is it. Mutant crossover. This is Kevin Feige, just another boner. This is Boner City. Right? I don't think anything comes from Madripoor.
I think the city will have more importance than Boner.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this is not going to be that connection to
It
mutants.
could just be a double. Yeah, it
Yes.
could be a double. I don't think. To be clear, I don't think it is either. But if I was feeding into Krebs's narrative that Madripoor, just like it does in the comics, have a relation to mutants, this is how it would happen. Subtly talking about a
absolutely.
trait of the human without saying mutant and or the mutant's
Absolutely.
name.
I was on board that train before WandaVision ended. But when we found out what the way they did with Peter Evans' character, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like, come on, Ralph Boner. Like, he was trolling us the whole time. And I think that's what this city is. It's going to be a city. We're going to be hyped up. We're going to see this and go, oh my God, here it is. Just give us a word. Just show us something about a mutant. Show us something, speculate. And it's really just going to be that fake moment. You're going to be like, oh, it's just Boner City. That's like Gritter said. It's Boner City, man.
Sure.
Exactly.
Well, we're going to be excited. We're going to be up watching Friday, whether you're up at 3 a.m., like myself, midnight on the West Coast. I'm still excited to break it down and talk about it each and every week.
Yeah, I love these things. I appreciate you guys, Gritter, Crimsy. Thanks for joining us as always.
Really do.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, fellas.
Having us.
Yeah, it's good conversations. I love Crimsby throwing hand grenades in the.
It gets our minds thinking. It gets our
I love
heads
it.
out
I love it.
thinking outside of the box of what's more than likely going to happen.
Yeah, if anybody,
Get us a little.
go ahead, Gritter, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say he gets us a little out of from behind cover like Outriders, right? You know, don't go into cover, get out of cover. Anyway,
That's right. Just start shooting. All right. Yeah. Just exactly. See what sticks.
At least the show's not filmed in 4:3. We don't want that.
Yeah, it's. I'm excited. It was a nice balance throughout the whole show with the action and then the dialogue. That one scene I had a problem with, but other than that, I feel like that's just a filler, which we won't even look back on that because that won't have any meaning later in the episodes for the 5 episodes that we have left. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute you guys. I appreciate you guys coming in, and
thank you for having us.
We'll talk to you next week. All right. All right. That's the end of episode 1. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you hit that like button if you obviously if you like the content. We'll be back on Friday night at 11 p.m. Eastern to do this breakdown of episode 2. It's exciting. I'm interested in seeing what happens if my speculation pans out with the Flag Smashers and Zemo and Sharon. All of them come together. We'll see if that pans out. This show. On Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern is literally just the call-in section, right? So next Tuesday from episode 2, the whole entire episode is call in, ask questions from chat and whatnot. And Fridays,
we love to hear from Gritter and Krebsy. We want everyone to feel comfortable and not be shy to come in, and like even if you got one little thing that you want to ask and then you want to bail, that's totally cool too. We want you to be able to jump in there and give us your thoughts. Like I said, either it's a question, a theory, or even just a comment. Hey, I didn't like his shirt. Hey, cool. That's what this Tuesday session is for. It's for people to talk, people to discuss, people to vent.
Right. I'll throw hand grenades and you guys tell me if you like it or hate it and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I come up with stuff to get conversations going. So, I'm excited to see what happens on episode 2. Appreciate everyone that comes out. It's literally the 35 of you every single week. Come diehard fans come here and love to talk about this stuff. So we appreciate it. Make sure you like it. Make sure you share. Hit the comment section down below. We'll be back on Friday, like I said, at 11 p.m. And then we'll be back next week for this episode 2 of the chat-in section. So Wolvie, where can they find you?
Wolverine_VZ on Twitter, Wolverine VZ on Xbox, and over on the Crucible Coliseum, which we just hit our monetization goals early this morning.
Nice.
So we'll be having some join functions and a broader spectrum of the channel on the horizon.
Sweet. Congratulations on
thank you.
that.
Big thank you to you, Lono, and everybody in this community. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it feels good when you can actually monetize. Yeah, it's a good feeling.
Yes.
I hit mine back in December, so it was a good time. You can find me on 30 and Still Gaming on the Purple platform. You can find me 30 and Still Gaming on YouTube. Right after this, I'm going to go live on my own stream. We're playing Retro Mania Wrestling, which is an 8-bit old school. It just came out today. It's the actual sequel to the arcade version of WrestleFest. I don't know if anybody remembers WrestleFest. It was that old school Royal Rumble WrestleFest. So we're playing that tonight, and we're gonna have a good time playing some wrestling. So if you like that old school type of stuff and you like wrestling, come on over to 30 and Still Gaming over on the YouTube channel. I do appreciate everyone coming out and hanging out with us on this show, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Take care.
Take it easy.